Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys. This is the part 2 of that video I made about anti-natalism. I wanted to add some things. So some people might not understand what I'm really saying in that video. This is the second part. I'm reminded of a story that happened. So Socrates, in his Plato narrative was about Socrates, that he was walking one day with his friend and one guy was coming from behind and he sent his slave boy to go and tell Socrates to wait. So Socrates was told to wait. So he said, okay, we are waiting for him, let him come. So when the guy finally came, so the slave boy said, my master told you that, said that you should wait. Anyway, the master came and he told Socrates that you have to wait because we told you to, because we are much more powerful than you. Do you have any other option than to wait? Because it's kind of like showing him like he has more power and stuff. So Socrates then told him like, there's another option. How about, and okay, so the master was kind of saying that I can hold you against your will because I'm more powerful than you. So Socrates then told him that, how about if I give you, there's another option. How about I convince you to let me go? So in a way, Socrates told him that, how about I use my reason and I will give you an argument and you will be compelled to let me go, that kind of thing. So how is this related? It's related to, I want to argue to any reasonable atheist. I can convince you that you should not give birth to a child in this world. You should die alone. And it's not as bad as you think. But bringing a child into this world will be an evil act on your path. It will be an evil act on you because you have no belief about the world being good. Your belief about the world is necessarily that the world has a possibility of suffering, at least a possibility of misfortune. Think about global warming. Think about bad things that can happen to your child or the future generation that you bring into this world. Now, the other option is that they will definitely die, 100%. Any child you bring into this world will eventually die, will grow old, suffer, and die. Why would you bring them into this world? So my point in this video is I want to convince you rationally that you should leave the world for us. Leave the world for naive people and religious people. You're too good. You're too smart. Don't do this. You don't need to be a mythologist like us. We have belief. You don't have any belief. So you should be a scientific and not bring a child into this world, because if you do that, you're being selfish and evil. Because you're bringing a child without his consent. Remember this, you didn't ask the child for consent. You brought him into this world. You have no plan of what he should think about life, or there's any continuity. All you have brought him into is a possibility, a life that is most definitely is going to suffer and is going to die eventually. And there's no purpose, there's no end goal, it's just come and experience. Did you ask me for permission? Did I ask you that I want to experience life? So I'm saying, any reasonable, conscious atheist, I can argue with you that you shouldn't bring a child into this world. Always use protection. Maybe you want to still have sex and stuff, but don't bring a child into this world. Because if you bring a child into this world, that child, you have nothing for him, and you have done him evil. That's the point of my argument. And I've not thought about how an atheist can respond to this. You know what? Any response you give to me, other than agreeing, will be some kind of mythology. So it's not necessary that you have to be a Muslim or Christian or this thing to have mythology. You must have some kind of mythology that you're using to justify this act of bringing someone into this world to come and suffer and die. You must have some kind of mythology that is not based on science, that is not based on anything reasonable. What you are doing is evil. That's the point of my argument, and I can convince you. And unless someone has some kind of argument that is not mythology, so any argument you give me, it has to be something based on your standard, like you always say, science and stuff. It cannot be something that is not scientific. Funny enough, I know there's no scientific base for this, so I know you're going to be a mythologist that, okay, life is worth living. But did you ask the person that you're bringing into the world before you make that judgment? Okay, life is worth living for you. So die alone. Why would you bring someone into this world that might disagree that life is worth living? See why this is evil? And I also pointed this to show you that some atheists Because atheists are a special group of people. They're actually very active in their denial of God and denial of religion and mythology. They are very active. They have taken a stance against anything non-scientific and stuff. Funny enough, they cannot do this. Most of their life is they run it with some kind of mythology to cope with their existence, and they even bring someone else into the world to come and suffer again. And they talk about problem of evil. They talk about God being like what is people talking? They talk about God like what's it called? That why did God bring someone into this world and stuff? Why don't you do it? Do it. Don't bring anybody into this world. But you can't. You are a mythologist. That's the point of my video. And I can argue with you that if you are being reasonable and fair and you want to be nice, please leave the world alone for us. The only people that should be alive or continue existing are us, religious people, or people that are not aware of these things. That's what that people are called naive. They don't even think about atheism or theism or things. They just leave. Those kind of people. Or religious people that think there's more to life than this. And that's how we justify our own our act of procreation. That I can bring a child into this world because there's God, and because God has told me to procreate, and because when we die we'll go to heaven. You see, there's more to it. There's a what's it called? And by the way, there's an argument that could be made against us. I know that, and I will flesh it out. Can I even do it here? Let me just do it here. So they could say that, you see, their own decisions between non-existence and existing and suffering and dying. But our own decision is non-existence, existing, suffering and dying, and possibility of hellfire even. You see? So they will say, they can make an argument. And if this is true, this is actually worst case. The worst case, because they're not just going to suffer and die, they can still go to hellfire and stuff. So in a way, what I'm actually saying, for the religious people, but that's what religion is. That's what faith is. We believe that we have the truth, and if we are being true to that, we cannot be anti-natalists. Because right now, why did I call myself a believer if I'm not even sure, or if I think I'm going to go to hellfire? Why would I call myself a believer? You see, so because I'm a believer, and you can say it's naive, by the way, but I'm a believer. I believe this is true. Therefore, I can justifiably bring a being into this world, and I'll teach him this, and he will have hope that there's an hereafter, and he will have hope that he can go to Jannah and paradise. And because he will understand that I didn't have a choice, I had to do this because of my belief. I had to. But if you're someone that doesn't have belief, your child can never understand your justification. Because what will be that justification? It will be something selfish. It will be something because of what's it called? You think that the world is good, but you cannot guarantee for him that the world will be good and stuff. You get? Man, these guys are incredibly loud, man. What is this? Anyway, what I'm saying is that the believer, even though his case is actually kind of, for the Christians and the Muslim, is actually much more scarier. But because of our belief, we are kind of compelled to procreate, and because we are true believers, we cannot say we will not bring a child into the world and only us go and face the possibility of going to hell. We cannot do that, because that would be against our belief. I don't know if you understand this, but if you don't understand, I can explain to you. I've talked about this and I realized that there's a difference. And another thing is that the believers think that if you are not in charge of even the giving birth thing. Like, you can say you don't want to give birth. You are presupposing that if you try to have like sex with a woman, that you are guaranteed giving birth to a child. We don't believe this. We believe even if you want to give birth, God can say no. So it was never in your control anyway. So we are kind of like that. It was never in our control, and whether we give birth or not, is God that decides to bring people into the world. So He can understand. Any child we bring into this world can understand our justification, just like me, I do. So if you bring a child into the world, that child will either think that you are incredibly naive or you're a religious person. That's the only way He can forgive you. If you are not incredibly naive and you are not a religious person that has hope in the hereafter and mythology, that child will never forgive you. And he will see you as incredibly selfish and brought him into the world to suffer. Let me see what you guys think about this. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.